Nile Gardiner from the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, is with us now from Washington. So, Nile, there was a great question put to Theresa May on Thursday. She dodged it and didn't really answer. So let me put it to you. The Prime Minister may be in office, but is she really in power right now?
Well, that's a very good question. And I think that, Theresa May's position right now is very precarious. She's put forward a Brexit proposal that is deeply unpopular with her own party, and also, according to the latest opinion polls, is deeply unpopular with the British public as well. And it's seen by many British Conservatives as a complete betrayal of the original vision of Brexit, a deal which gives the European Union tremendous control, basically, and ties Britain to the EU customs union, which is something that the 17.4 million Britons who voted for Brexit did not originally vote for. So I think that Theresa May's position right now is really an extremely weak position. It's uncertain just how long, frankly, she'll be able to stay as Prime Minister, if indeed she faces a vote of no confidence and then a leadership challenge. And without a doubt, I think there is very little prospect that Theresa May can win a House of Commons vote on December the 10th on the Brexit deal that she has. And I expect that over 100 Conservative MPs will vote against the deal, in addition to the entire Labour Party, and I think the other political parties as well will reject this deal. So all in all, I think she's in an extraordinarily weak position right now.
You know, in the wake of the resignations from Cabinet, Theresa May kept up that usual jolly hockey sticks, don't worry, let's push on tone that she has. Here she is, listen to this.
I do not judge harshly those of my colleagues who seek to do the same, but who reach a different conclusion. They must do what they believe to be right, just as I do. I'm sorry that they've chosen to leave the government, and I thank them for their service. But I believe with every fibre of my being that the course I have set out is the right one for our country and all our people.
Yeah, that may be so, but it seems very hard to gloss over the loss of the Brexit negotiator, Dominic Raab. The second negotiator, 5 months?
Absolutely. Dominic Raab's exit from the cabinet was a severe blow to Theresa May, as was the departure of Esther McVey, the Work and Pensions Secretary, as well, and the departure of several junior ministers. An extremely bad day for the Prime Minister. I do think that, the Prime Minister really, in a way, is quite delusional about her own position right now. She's losing support hour by hour at the moment. And I think that, she has to accept that her Brexit proposal does not have the support of her own party, and I think she really needs to reverse course here. And I understand that there are many members of her own cabinet who are still in place who are urging the Prime Minister to reverse course on this deal. This is a deal, I think, that really gives the EU everything it wants, and it really, I think, places Britain in an extraordinarily poor position with regard to its Brexit future. And so I do think this is a moment when the Prime Minister has to acknowledge reality here, and she has to understand that her position is untenable. But she also has to understand as well that the deal that she is pushing forward is a deal that is very bad for Britain. It does not guarantee British sovereignty. And there is no real exit for Britain from the customs union. So it's going to be impossible for Britain to sign free trade agreements with nations across the world, including with the United States. And this was a point made by David Davis, another former Brexit secretary, who today condemned the deal and said that Britain would not be able to enter into a free trade agreement with the United States as a result of this deal. So, the Prime Minister really has to accept reality here, instead of denying it.
But meantime, over in Brussels, they're popping the champagne corks, or maybe at the very least they don't seem to care what's happening in London. Here's the President of the European Council, Donald Tusk. Listen to this.
It is not for me to comment on the latest developments in London. All I can say is that the EU is prepared for a final deal with the United Kingdom in November. We are also prepared for a no-deal scenario. But of course we are best prepared for a no Brexit scenario.
You know, at this point, Europe seems to be holding all the cards. Did they drive a too hard a deal with Theresa May? And are they doing this basically to punish the UK, an example to others who may be wavering about staying in the EU?
Well, that's an extremely good point. And there's been an awful amount of gloating coming from Brussels over the last 48 hours. Which tells us all we need to know, really, about the EU's approach towards these things. As you mentioned earlier, I think that, you know, for the European Union, especially for the European Commission, the Brexit negotiations have been seen as a kind of punishment beating for Britain to serve as a warning to any country in the EU that seeks to leave the European Union. And so that's been, I think, the entire premise of the EU's approach in terms of these negotiations. They've not been good faith negotiations. And unfortunately, in Theresa May, we have a very weak-kneed leader who has made concession after concession to the European Union, in addition to giving away nearly £40 billion of British taxpayers' money as well. My former boss, Margaret Thatcher, would have taken an entirely different approach. She would have stood up to the bullies of the European Union. She would have stood up for British interests. And I don't think she would have given a penny away of British taxpayers' money to the EU. And so this deal that Theresa May is offering is an appalling surrender to the European Union. I think that it's a humiliation for Great Britain, and all the gloating that you're seeing in Brussels today, I think, confirms that. It's time for Britain, I think, to stand up for its interests in Europe and on the world stage, and stand up to the European Commission. Theresa May is not the Prime Minister to do that.
Okay, Niles, we'll leave it there. Yes, some difficult times ahead, especially for Theresa May, the woman who seems to have the job that no one else wants right now, at least for the moment. Niles, thank you.
Thank you very much.